everyone, and welcome to my show, JOJO'S MOJO, where I interview people going from victim to champion. So I interview people that have worked through breakdowns and breakthroughs and set goals for their future. I want to welcome Mariquita Solis to my show. Welcome. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
It is a pleasure to have you here with us. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a joyful relationship coach, and I specialize in feminine empowerment. I really work with women to release these big blocks that have been holding them back for years and to move into power, creating from power, because that was my story. I was trying to create from lack and desperation, and that doesn't work. Really creating from just trying to tread water doesn't work. So I'm excited to really do something different, right? Creating from power makes me want to shine, and it's wonderful to join in the community. And so to be here talking with you makes me really hyped up.
That's awesome. But we'll get hyped up after a word from our sponsor. Welcome to JOJO'S MOJO. Welcome back, guys. I wanted to ask you, what was your bottom and when you decided to make a change for your life for the better?
Well, I think my bottom was when I had been dumped or broken up or some sort of left behind situation by an ex that I thought had everything that I wanted. And I was just up awake all night long, just torturing myself and basting myself in hatred and just analyzing that overthinking loop of what did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? And that was the issue. He always looked for, we had a great relationship for like a month or two. I thought, oh my gosh, Disneyland, right? And so then he said, you're so good to be true. You're so great. What's wrong with you? And I thought, oh my gosh, now I really have to do, really step into that pretender mode. Nothing's wrong with me. I was terrified he was going to find out what was wrong with me. But eventually, of course, since I was pretending to be someone I wasn't, to create this perfect Disney World relationship, I was, everything was revealed. And yeah, so then after he was gone, I didn't need anybody to keep saying, what's wrong with you? Because I was caught into that. I just took over his words, what's wrong with you? And then all night long, I'd be like, okay, well, this is what's wrong with you. This is what's wrong with you, on, until I just finally went crazy. I thought I'm going mad. And so I just said, okay, something's got to give. I can't live like this anymore. And so I just started Googling self-compassion, and I saw the book by Kristen Neff, Self-Compassion. That was beautiful. And I also heard someone saying, why are you treating yourself the way that they were treating you? And that was a big aha moment. Right. And then like the next day or two, I was just happened to have the TV on, and I heard the words of, I didn't know who it was, but he was saying, you're a child of God and today is your day. And I thought, oh my gosh, who is saying this? I mean, this is so far from what I've been hearing in my head. And it was Joel Osteen. And that really, he has so much charisma, and he was just so much enthusiasm. And I just clung to that. So those were my big aha moments when I said, I'm taking back my life. This has got to shift. And I, slowly, baby stepping it back, I was able to pull myself out of that gutter and change my life.
And now, working with women on your platform, you help them pretty much do the work that you have done for yourself. How does that make you feel?
Oh my gosh, it just really warms my heart, my soul. It's everything, and it's my passion. I mean, it's my purpose in life. There's nothing that gives me more pleasure than to help others. And because I can't stand to see someone full of potential that stepped away from their beautifulness. So it makes me feel warm, like I'm eating an ice cream cone or, on a beach with the sun basking on me, that's the way it makes me feel.
And now what would you suggest a woman do when she feels like she's lost her power, when she feels like she's gone insane? What would be the first step that she should take?
I think really sitting in the quiet and looking at your heart, and just starts by saying, whether you believe it or not, I'm sending you love. I mean, to yourself, like I'm sending myself love, and imagining my heart and putting my arms around myself and really tuning into that loving spot in the quiet. And like I said, whether you believe it or not, start saying, I love you. Stand in front of the mirror and say, you're so beautiful. And I choose to see you as beautiful. I choose to see you as perfectly imperfect. And I embrace you as you are now. And just over and over and over and over.
That is beautiful. I actually do that myself, not enough. We'll be back with Mariquita after this commercial break.
Wait, you want some more? Wait, you want some more? Okay.
Welcome back, Mariquita. How are you again?
Doing great. Thank you.
Are you enjoying your day?
Yes, I love talking to you, and I love your background. It's really beautiful. I love the colors, and I volunteer at the Nature Center over here in Georgia, Chattahoochee Nature Center. So I feel like you're at the Nature Center. So I love it.
I am in nature. I'm natural woman. Remember that song?
Yeah, I do.
I love that song. Okay, now we're going to go into asking you, what is your group? What do you do? And how do you help the women?
I have a ladies group on Facebook, Joy and Fulfillment, Create the Relationship You Deserve. And I help women by uncovering the big blocks that are holding them back. And a lot of times it's, I'm not lovable, I'm not enough. A lot of women are trapped in isolation. Like, I don't need anybody, or there's no one out there that can, that really can help me or be a part of my life. There's no one for me. There's no good partners out there. So all these big blocks we're trying to create from the big block, and it's impossible to, like I said earlier. And then moving into really tuning into that beauty inside of themselves, start supporting themselves with that self-talk. Because like Jim Quick says, your brain is like a supercomputer and your self-talk is the program it's running. And I love that quote. It's really on point. And I talked to a teacher the other day who's teaching her kindergartners that. And that was so inspiring. So really tuning into who you are in that divine place in your soul, and then connecting with a higher power, which is maybe the ocean, maybe God, maybe the rivers, maybe the trees, whatever that higher power is, connecting with that and knowing that you're fully supported, that all of this beautiful divine planet, all of the earth, all of the trees that are giving us the air to breathe and cleaning the air for us, all of this life is supporting you. Stepping back into that, and then connecting with these beautiful resources as people and libraries and churches, or all sorts of different places, connecting and stepping out of isolation to move back into that place of power where you're not alone anymore, but you're tuning into that higher vibration, that higher energy of love. And that's where you're creating from. And that's what we work on in my 3-month coaching program. Stepping back into that place of power.
That's amazing. Now,
exciting.
Yes. How does that actually help you? How does that help you when you're helping them? Are there things that you still see that you're learning?
I'm always learning, definitely. Yeah. And just seeing the breakthroughs helps me, really gets me clarity on how to help someone else. Having the lessons of life are happening every moment. So every time we're having a conversation, you're bringing me wonderful wisdom right now, and you inspire me to have these great thoughts and maybe take a step further along my journey. And so anyone I'm working with is the same way. We're bouncing this off of each other, bouncing wisdom. Like one of my teachers used to say, we are each other's medicine. So that's how it's helping me. It's a learning process. Every person is a teacher. So always learning and always having just ears and eyes, everything open and receiving and allowing. Stepping into feminine energy is about allowing instead of forcing and controlling. Because so many times when we're in the dating process, we're forcing and trying to do and lay out the dates, and this has to happen. But feminine energy is about stepping back into, I allow this to be, and I allow myself to receive the love I deserve, to step into respect and no more forcing. I allow myself to step away when it's not serving me instead of forcing. So that's what's so beautiful about the feminine energy. And a lot of times we've just lost that. I mean, being in the corporate world, we are always, it's a linear world. But feminine energy is not linear. It's about something that can't be like love. How do you create love? You can't map that out.
That's true. That's actually where faith comes in. The unknown. When I've done work on myself, I was having a hard time being present. That's a very difficult thing for people to do, just be in the moment.
Yes, it is. I mean, you're right. That takes a lot of faith. Exactly what you said. And one thing that Joel Osteen said, and that I'll never forget, he was like, you have great faith, but it's in the wrong thing. So having great faith in yourself and allowing the universe to unfold these beautiful gifts of what's going to happen maybe in your career, what's going to happen in your love life, as long as you're mindful and living in that place of trusting that you are being supported by all of life, that you are here and you're in just a beautiful divine spirit on this beautiful path. And that's being in alignment with your dreams and goals. And faith is going to lift you up, and tuning into that, waking up and saying, today I allow my, this faith, this beautiful faith that has my back to direct me, and I stand in that power of faith. I am faith today.
Definitely. Wow. It's very powerful because once you get into the present, your anxiety level does actually go down. And
yeah, it definitely does.
There's one thing that I learned in meditation. I want to introduce meditation to people out here in America because it's been around forever. And in America, we're really suffering from a lot of addictions of all kinds. And meditation is one of those things that helps you with your breathing, helps you with your thoughts, helps you with visualizing actually the future in a more positive way instead of worrying about the future. Do you meditate?
Yes, I do. I just had a beautiful meditation today. So my boyfriend, James, and I sat down, he picked one and it was really nice. It was about shifting thoughts, shifting stories, like the crippling stories. So it was specifically about choose a story that maybe could have a different ending. And what's the new ending? An ending that's powerful, that you're not afraid to think of the story, because we have these stories that bring us down, and meditation will shift that. And it's great for focus. It's great for sleeping. It's great for so many things, for clarity. It's a beautiful practice. And I love that you're really trying to shine that light on meditation.
Thank you. Well, it's a pillar of healing, really, because I've never, for about 20 years, I haven't had spirituality for a long time. And I'm going back into that. And like you talk about, you can have a higher power of anything. And through group healings, you talked about isolation, having your teaching group for 3 months is an amazing thing for the women. How have you seen it help the women?
Well, I've had ladies that were in domestic violence situations and afraid to go to court, to really stand tall in their courage and just their joy at sharing with me how they were able to not be pushed around anymore, that they were going to take that strong version of themselves, that they were able to step into that and carry that into that courtroom and do what they needed to do for their children's sake. So that's amazing, to hear those stories of power, how they've taken back their lives.
That's beautiful. That's very beautiful. Okay, we're going to go to our commercial break and we'll come back with Marita. Welcome back to JoJo's Mojo. I am so excited to talk about our next section because we had just talked about people, places, and things and how they affect us. So let's go into that, okay? So there's an acceptance prayer in the AA groups, and it's very important that people understand that people, places, and things and situations will actually hinder us, hinder our growth. So let's cover a little bit more about that subject. What are your thoughts on that?
I think about allowing everything to be and stepping away when it's not serving you. By allowing and seeing what's serving, then you're able to step into the energy and you can feel your body, and sometimes we think, maybe I don't know what's serving me, but when we're really in tune, like meditation helps, listening to our body, when I think about, I'm going to go meet this person, and you start to cringe, and then we ignore that, or like, I'm going to force it to be right. But we have a choice to step away. That's not serving us, right? And when we're listening with awareness and mindfulness, like we were talking about earlier, we can be in alignment with what's serving us. And that's very important to know where you are on this path and getting clear about what you want your life to be so you can live in alignment. And I was living just all over the place, not in alignment with anything. And that's why things were just all muddled up for me, just like all over, bump, 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 and no peace, because I didn't get grounded on who I was, what I wanted, and how does the environment, the people, everything line up with my dream of helping others. So
yeah, I mean, I can totally relate to that. Even when you were talking about it, I was like all over the place. And then you're talking about being grounded, and I was like, so that could be kind of an example of how you're supposed to feel.
definitely.
You're supposed to feel calm. You're supposed to feel peaceful. And when you don't feel calm and peaceful, I usually take a deep breath, because that's our brains need that oxygen. And we're just like cutting the oxygen off to our brain, right?
That's so true. And that's why it's really important. Like I always start out with a centering meditation, really saying, closing our eyes and putting all that hecticness away for a moment, stepping back into the wisdom of Mother Nature, breathing that into, our legs, our hips, down to the soles of our feet, and that connectedness of the greater picture here, and moving into a wiser and just fine tuning our listening to get these lessons on a deeper transformational level. But starting out with that settling in, and then let's go.
Yeah, I've heard it said by my mentor, Danette May, the breath is the awesome and peace and and of orgasm and of pleasure. Now, that is something that when I was growing up, self-pleasure was looked down upon or frowned upon. Now, in order to change that, we need to remove it, right? And then replace it with something else. And I was trained to do that as well. Do you train that with your wonderful ladies?
So are you talking about physically or what exactly when you say
I'm talking
self-pleasure?
about, I'm talking about like negative things that you think about pleasure,
Oh.
and then removing that and then replacing it with more of a positive thought about pleasure.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
there's shame involved in that, and that's why we have the isolation. So I'd like to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, shame is a huge block to moving forward. And so when we can step into accepting ourselves the way we are and seeing how shame is holding us back, then we are able to move forward. And there was something you just said that I'm forgotten now. Oh, about the pleasure. And so, oh, the thoughts. So the thoughts that are coming, it's normal to have negative thoughts. Everyone has them, like about 75% of the thoughts are negative that are running through our brains. So, and then 95% of the time we're on autopilot. So we want that autopilot to be serving us. So knowing that a negative thought is here, like, oh, well, you're going to have a horrible time on that interview. Okay. So, and I could be like, oh my gosh, I can't handle that. So now I have a choice. Am I going to feed into that thought, or am I going to say, wait a minute, you know what? I hear you and I know you're trying to scare me, but you know what I choose? I choose this greater thought, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to stand in front of the mirror to make myself, or even physically stand up tall. And, like the Wonder
Right.
Woman, this is going to be an amazing interview. I'm charged and I'm excited to share my message to the world. So that's a greater thought, and living mindfully to do that is
Yeah.
how, this is what we can do to take back our power. Because instead of beating ourselves up for these thoughts, saying, hey, I know this is normal, everyone has them, but this is the different road. I'm going to, that thought's stopping me. So now I'm going to shift to a different path.
Shifting is very important because a lot of people stay sedentary or what they call stuck.
Yeah,
I'm
stuck
really
on the
proud.
roadblock.
I'm really proud of the work that you're doing for women, because I'm right behind you. Me personally, I've just scratched the surface of self-love and self-empowerment for women, and that feminine you're talking about. If you think about your futures, is there anything else you want to accomplish in your lifetime?
Wow, that's a very big question. There's a lot of things I want to do.
What scares you? What scares you?
me? Not
That's
doing
the
them.
biggest goal.
Not doing them.
That's a good one.
It's the scariest thought, right? And just sitting back, and you know what? I mean, we all have times when we feel down, and then we get those thoughts, the old stories start going. For me, the scary thing would be like, oh, choosing to go back to the old story, instead of, I know this is okay. I know that these things are going to happen. I know those stories are going to come haunting me, but just pushing through it, saying, hey, okay, maybe I need an hour to be sad. That's okay. Let me give myself the hour to feel sad. Now let's shift, and being gentle with myself is the key.
Easy does it. I learned that in recovery.
Right, yeah.
Easy does it.
I love
It's
that.
wonderful. Oh, easy does it. There's a few of them, and I really suggest anybody who's struggling with addiction, because addiction is numbing thyself, literally. And I did it for years because I was afraid of myself.
Mm.
And I think a lot of women do that. They're just afraid of who they actually could become.
That is true. And a lot of women never had the skills. And so they think, why am I not a better mother? Why am I not good at relationships? Because they never got the skills. But that they'll take that on as like a character trait. Oh, well, I'm a bad person, or this is a bad, it's like we can learn these things, and we can move forward.
And I want to point out that we're human beings, not human doings.
Yes.
Right? It's like I felt as a woman that I had to do all these things to attain love or acceptance. Do you find that that's a big issue with the women?
Definitely. That's what I did. I was trying to find someone to validate me. So years and years, I would just move from the dating. Okay, I went out with this guy. Now I've got to pretend to be someone. So he's going to validate that I'm worthy of love. Okay, so now when he sees that I've been faking it and then the relationship's over, let me find someone else to validate me and start pretending again. Now I'm a different person to fit this guy, or and it's exhausting. And there's no healing. Okay, it's over with that one. Now I've got to get right back on the webpage, and say, here I am, and everything's great, which is a big fat lie. It wasn't great because I was just like, oh my gosh, is anybody ever going to love me? I'm unlovable. I just don't deserve anybody. Those stories, just that loop. And then of course you can't create from that.
Well, I think you're very lovable.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm really glad you're on the show with me, because this has been a whole lot of fun. We'll have to do it again sometime. Part 2 with Mariquita. That'd be so awesome.
That'd be wonderful. It has been fun. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you for coming on my show.